Hi, good evening. This is Marissa Kehrwald, and I'm here to discuss the first summary for the Power of Habit book. And It's been a really great book so far. I've really enjoyed it. Um, One of the main points in the first part of the book was talking about how habits are formed. Habits are formed by a three-step loop uh, using a cue or a trigger that your brain automatically chooses to start that habit, followed by a physical, mental, or emotional routine. That routine is followed by a reward, which helps your brain remember the loop for the future. So over time, that loop becomes more automatic, and your anticipation or craving for that habit emerges, and then a habit is formed. So, an example of this in an individual was Mandy. She really stuck out in my head as far as the many examples that they provided in the book. Mandy was a student who habitually bit her nails to the point where she bit them into pretty much stumps, to where she was embarrassed to go out with friends or go on dates, and would constantly ball up her fists and didn't want to be in social situations. However, even with all of that, she still could not change her habit. Even as embarrassing as her fingernails became, she did not. Her brain could not forget that habit. So that just shows how powerful habits are in our brain, and you have to actively change them in order to remove that habit. So Mandy didn't really even know why she was biting her nails in the first place until she began speaking with her therapist. And they finally determined that when she was watching TV or doing her homework, she became bored, and so she would reach for her nails and start biting. So after that, she got a sensation of pleasure from biting her nails, and she would work her way through all 10 fingernails. And then by the end of it, she would receive her reward based on feeling that need to bite all of her fingers. So the cue was the boredom of watching TV or doing her homework, followed by the routine of biting all of her nails, and followed by the reward where she felt that stimulation or pleasure from that. So, in order to change that habit, you have to first address and accept the reason why the habit was formed in the first place. And for Mandy, that was her boredom. So they finally realized that when she was doing her homework or watching TV, she would receive that cue for her boredom, and she would basically feel that need to bite her fingernails. And so, in order to change that habit, the doctor gave her a little bit of homework and decided to figure out what she felt before receiving that cue to begin biting her fingernails. And that cue turned out to be a tension in her hands. So, after some talks with her therapist, they decided that when she felt that tension in her hands, she would change her routine, and instead of biting her fingernails, she'd rub her arm or knock her knuckles on the table. So over time, when she continually changed her routine, then she was able to still receive the same reward and still had the same cue, but by changing the routine, she was able to change that habit and stopped biting her fingernails. So she was able to then go into social situations again and feel a little bit more normal, and also change her habit for the better. I can definitely relate to this. I know that I have noticed these types of behaviors in myself. With studying and watching TV, I become bored and I go reach for a piece of candy. And so I've noticed over time, I was eating candy all the time, and I once reached for a piece of candy and I thought, I'm not even hungry. Why am I doing this? So after reading this book, it really came to understanding that my cue was boredom as well. Same with Mandy, going towards watching TV or doing homework. You're absent-mindedly doing that same routine, and your cue is is the watching TV or doing homework Your routine is eating a piece of candy. Your reward, you feel happy because that candy is fulfilling and satisfying. So, in order to change that habit, I decided every time I felt the need to have a piece of candy, I would get a piece of fruit instead or go get a glass of water, do something instead of the candy. So, changing my routine when the cue and the reward stay the same. So, by getting a piece of fruit, my brain thinks that, yes, I am full, I'm satisfied, but with something healthier. So, it's all about how you change your routine with individuals. Your cues and your rewards can stay the same, but over time, if you change your routine, your habits will eventually change and you won't even realize that you're doing it. So, I look forward to reading more of the book, and thank you guys for watching.